Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good morning, my students at home. My name is Abu Muhammad Bashir, your business studies teacher. Today, inshallah, by the way, in our previous lesson, we were able to look at the meaning of chemicals. And inshallah, today, we are going to look at need for controlling and monitoring of chemicals. Yes, chemicals are everywhere in the market, but there is need for those chemicals to be controlled and maintained in the market. Otherwise, people will end up buying harmful products in the name of chemicals. So we need to go ahead. There is need to monitor and control all chemicals to forestall negative effects on goods and services, just like I rightly said in the course of my introduction. Now, there are household items produced and sold in the market that involves application of chemicals before they are being sold in the market. And we are going to look at a few of them here. A here is what? Food. Food, like you know, we eat food on daily basis. And you also know that if you are unable to eat, you know the kind of reaction you get in your body. So food is very, very important. Food gives us energy to do activities. So come with me as I explain to you what food is all about here. Food is important because it provides energy to move, think, and carry out daily activities. Just like I said, food gives us the energy to move, think, and provide energy. To carry out daily activities. It is also necessary for growth. Food must be kept and preserved in such a way that it will not be contaminated with chemicals that are not consumable. Food is also necessary for growth. If you eat good food, it will facilitate your growth. Take, for instance, those that are in IDP today. If you look at them, they are malnourished. Why are they malnourished? It's because they don't have good food to eat. That is why their growth is being affected. But you that is privileged to be at home and you are being given food, you will discover that your growth is quite different from those who are not able to get food to feed. So it is very, very necessary to keep food away from chemicals that are dangerous or injurious to the body. Food must be kept and preserved in such a way that it will not be contaminated with chemicals that are not consumable. If eventually you preserve food with chemicals that are not good for consumption, definitely that food becomes poison. It affects the system, and if care is not taken, it leads to death of individuals. So please, it is very, very necessary we keep food far away from chemicals that are not consumable. Secondly, we have drugs. A drug is a chemical substance which affects the action of the body. Drug is a chemical substance which affects the function or action of the body. For example, you are feeling headache. What kind of drug will you take? Paracetamol, isn't it? It has affected, and by so doing, you regain your health. What has happened there? You have gained your action back. But if you are not feeling fine, In fact, you cannot do anything. You can't do any. If you are feeling headache or you are not feeling fine, generally you can't do anything except you are being prescribed drugs, and unless you take the drugs before you get your action back. Which affects the action of the body. It is beneficial if it is taken according to prescription. Yes, just like I said, drugs is very, very beneficial if it's taken according to doctor's prescription. Drugs taken not with doctor's prescription is very, very dangerous, because you may end up taking the drugs for a different illness, which at the end of the day, you may not be healed. So taking drugs according to or based on doctor's prescription is very, very good. Once a person forms the habit of taking a particular drug, he or she may find it difficult to do without it. Once a person is so addicted to a particular drug all the time, that person is difficult to avoid taking that drug. And hence, it is called what? Drug abuse. All the times you are on that particular drugs, all the times, morning, afternoon, evening, 247, you are on a particular drug without the prescription of the medical doctor. In fact, it's called drug abuse. So there is need we avoid it, because it's very, very dangerous to our health. Drugs should not be sold and bought anyhow. You can see in some in some remote areas, you see hawkers peddling drugs. It's very, very dangerous. You don't need to patronize them. It's very, very dangerous. You don't need to buy drugs anyhow. For the fact that you are not feeling fine or you are feeling headache, then you just go and buy drugs from peddlers. It's very, very dangerous. It's not advisable. Drugs should not be sold and bought anyhow. Only approved drugs by authorized agencies. I repeat, only approved drugs by authorized agencies such as National Agency for Food Drugs Administration and Control and Standard Organization of Nigeria should be sold. Before you are being given before you go to a pharmacy to buy a drug, you must make sure that those drugs are authorized by these agencies: NAFDAC, National Agencies for Food Drugs Administration and Control, and Standard Organization of Nigeria, before you can go ahead and buy the drugs. And here, last but not the least, chemical. Last but not the least is what? Chemical. But before we discuss this chemical, I would like us to take a look at this instructional material. Just like I explained in my previous class, I told you that these are some example of chemicals that we have, meaning we have more than these examples. But to mention but a few, these are some of the examples that I carve out to aid the teaching and learning process. This is a drum of acid which we use in refilling our battery of our cars. This is iodized salt. It's also a chemical that we apply when preparing our delicious meal at home. This is chlorine. Chlorine is used in purifying our drinking water. It makes our water drinkable by purifying it, making it healthy. Potassium, like we all know, we use it in preparing delicious dishes at home. Yes, let's come back to the chemical, like I said. Chemical must be monitored and controlled in order to prevent water, soil, and atmospheric pollution. These chemicals, for lack of knowledge of chemical application, some of our vendors misuse it or apply it anyhow. They might end up, after using the chemical, and throw the remnants into a river. It will kill the organisms in the river and is very, very dangerous. Or after using the chemical, the remnants, they throw it on the farmland. In fact, it will kill the fertility of the entire farmland of that particular area. So it's inappropriate for chemical vendors to throw chemical remnants anyhow. And it also it needs to be controlled so that it shouldn't pollute our atmosphere. Just like as we are alive today, we breathe in carbon dioxide and we breathe out what? We breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. So if the chemicals are wrongly thrown away and it is such a chemical that has pungent odor, it pollutes the air and therefore affects the oxygen we breathe in, and again affects our health. So chemicals need to be monitored and controlled to avoid being harmful to the water we drink, the soil we farm on, as well as the atmosphere generally. If chemicals are not properly monitored, the most suitable chemical can be injurious to health, which may lead to death. Just like I said, if they are not properly monitored, at the end of the day, we are going to be the victim of the chemical. And you know what it means, it leads to death. Now, I'm going to give you homework so that you can be busy at home while you are observing the government guidelines for staying at home. Now, one of the questions of the homework is list 2 effects of lack of monitoring of chemicals. I repeat, list 2 effects of lack of monitoring of chemicals. Number 2, state 2 ways of controlling chemicals. State 2 ways of controlling chemicals. And last but not the least is explain how drug is a chemical. I repeat, explain how drug is a chemical. And in case there is any concept I explain here that you are not too clear, please, I have my numbers below so that you can call me, ask me questions as regards to what I taught you so that I can explain better to you. At this juncture, I would like to say bye-bye and stay safe. Thank you very much.